I'm not making political commentary. It's very, very important that we stay away from that. My politics are not important. This is not a political call. However, the government is experiencing another shutdown. And I don't think anybody here is under the impression that when the government shuts down, it actually shuts down, because that's clearly not the case, right? There's lots of agencies that are still staffed and still have minimal skeleton crews, et cetera, et cetera. But it's shut down, and CISA is shut down right now. And I say shut down, but y'all know that means shut down-ish, still providing some services, but also providing not other services, et cetera, et cetera. So when I say CISA, so CISA is a and infrastructure security agency. So this is the government's anti-hacker arm. What we get from CISA more than anything is guidance on, hey, this big bulletin came out and we're seeing this across America, or we're seeing financial challenges with this organization, or we're seeing cybersecurity upticks from this country, or oh my gosh, there's this really bad vulnerability that just came out. They give bulletins every day, and I probably read a third of them just out of curiosity, but they're one of the ways we use OSINT, which is open source threat intelligence. That's me saying, how do I evaluate the riskiness or security of a product, a program, an approach, something to that effect? I do use CISA's advice as one of my points of reference for this. So I'm checking for some people in the chat right now. Don't see them, but if you are one of our clients who has asked me to do a security review for you, and if you are a managed security client, this is covered in most of the plans of, we're bringing in a new vendor, or we're doing a new process, and a lot of that's been AI lately, right? Is this safe? What do we do? Most of our clients have some process for, we want to bring in a new vendor. We don't know if it's any good. Can you analyze it? CISA is one of the ways we do it, right? There's also private threat intelligence. There's also AI searches. We also look on forums, Reddit, Bleeping Computer. There's Slack forums, MSP Geek that we do. So it's another data point for that. And they do give organizational guidance to companies around America. But look, y'all, give me a 4 in chat if you think if you get hit with a cyber attack, the government's going to come help you. Belden, they're not. Bob, maybe. Bob, maybe. But the reason I say that is, we're not making billions of dollars, right? Of course not. Thank you, John. I agree completely. And only if I have oil, says somebody. Let's appreciate that one. That's funny. The truth is, unless you're dealing with billions of dollars or nation state actors, and we have had that in our client base once or twice, where I have to sign a form from an agency, right? And we talk to this agency, and then I don't want to know anything else about what happened because I'm out of that. That does happen, but for the most part, agreed. There's not going to be, the government isn't going to help. They're not here to save you. We're not making enough money. We're not dealing in Bitcoin or national security, most of us, right? And so I would say CISA being shut down is not a tactical challenge at the moment, right? If you were to come to me and say, Steve, oh my gosh, what can't you do now because CISA's down? I'd say, I get fewer emails, right? Yeah, that's true, Bob. I know. I'm aware. But you're unique though, across some of our clients, so that's pretty neat. Bob has a service that is actually relatively sensitive, and I'm not going to go any further than that in the call. But I would say that specifically for American small to medium business, what you should know is currently a significant portion of our cyber defense for America is shut down. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think America's cyber defense was effective, right? Y'all know that, right? Give me a 5 in chat if you know anybody that's been compromised by someone who wasn't in America, and go and right. Thank you, Megan and Ryan. I appreciate that. Right. Everybody, we get very few compromises from Milwaukee. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a thing that happens all that often. So in saying that, America's cyber defense is generally pretty weak. We've known this for a very long time. And in fact, in the war nowadays, cyber defense in general is pretty weak. So I wanted to take a minute here to kind of recognize this, right? And I'm very, very specifically saying defense. And I am aware that we are talking specifically about American governmental institutions when it comes to CISA, because I don't think anybody in this chat is looking for the government to tell you how to protect yourself, right? They've got a couple of tools out there. Orca is one of them, but they're not great, right? They're not as nearly as good as private industry stuff, which is why we use private industry stuff, of course. Um, but please know that we are in a time where America itself is particularly vulnerable, and of course the bad guys know this, and maybe they're not all bad guys, maybe they're just adversaries, right? We're not going to talk about who's a good guy and a bad guy right now, except maybe North Korea. But they're trying to get us, and we don't have a heck of a lot of defense. Now, America's government does have a fairly well-developed cyber offense, which, makes sense when it comes to like the NSA and some of the hackers that we have around here. But no country really has a great cyber defense. The point of the reason I'm telling you this is this may have a market effect in the future. One of the reasons I have these calls with everybody is I say, hey, look, I don't know what's coming next, and it's going to change. If you're one of my managed security clients out here, you absolutely know that we layer security, because I can't just put one thing in and go, you're safe. We have varying layers of product, we have varying layers of service, we have varying layers of process, right? People, process, technology are the things that matter. You got to do them all. In this case, the government of all of the other nations in the world kind of knows we're a little vulnerable at the moment. And this is the slide that I put in here an hour and a half ago, because this is a relatively recent thing. And there's a link that's at the bottom of this page that you can get to. And obviously we'll put it on the recording page where you can see like what's going on here. But just know the American government's not really protecting us. Not that they really super were from a cyber defense perspective in any time, but we might see an uptick coming, and we're a little bit bracing for impact on that.